Namaste. In the last video of My India, My Pride, you have learnt about Sanatana Dharma and the timeline as per Sanatana Dharma. You also learnt about Chaturyugas. Now, in this video, let us learn about the present Chaturyuga and how the different avatars of Lord Vishnu explain the evolution theory proposed by Darwin several years later. As per Sanatana Dharma, God created this universe. Lord Brahma is the creator of this universe. Lord Vishnu is known as the preserver or the protector of the universe. Lord Shiva, the destroyer of the evil in the universe. Whenever the sacred, moral, and ethical norms of Dharma are broken and chaos and evil threaten the universe, Lord Vishnu incarnates into the world and re establishes harmony by fighting the forces of disorder. All the incarnations have a common purpose, that is, protection of the good, destruction of the evil, and establishment of Dharma. Sanatana Dharma has explanation to everything that happens. According to science, theory of evolution by natural selection is explained by Charles Darwin in 1859. This theory of evolution describes how organisms evolve from a marine animal to a man. But this theory was explained long back beautifully through Vishnu's Dashavatara. Bharatavarsha was well advanced culturally as well as scientifically thousands of years ago. Our sages and saints thought beyond time. That is why they proposed the Dashavatara, which is more ancient theory than the theory of evolution proposed by Charles Darwin. Lot of scientific discoveries were also made thousands of years ago by sages. Let us learn about them in a separate video. According to Darwin's theory of evolution, first life evolved in water in the form of protozoa and marine animals. This is the first stage of evolution which resembles the first avatara of God Vishnu's Matsyavatara, which is also a fish. As per Sanatana Dharma, creation started with the sound Om, which radiated from the mind of Lord Vishnu to the mind of Lord Brahma, who was in deep sleep, and came out of the mouth of Brahma in the form of Vedas. During that time, there lived a demon whose sole motive was to stop the humans from becoming more powerful than the demons. He came to know Lord Vishnu had handed over the four Vedas to Lord Brahma in the form of Omkar to be given to humans in the form of texts. He decided to steal them to stop the sacred texts from reaching the humans. When the Omkar came out of the mouth of Brahma in the form of Vedas, the demon stole it and hid himself under the ocean. Lord Vishnu had vowed that he would visit the earth whenever adharma lifts its ugly head. Therefore, when humanity was at stake and when adharma emerged in the form of a demon who stole the Vedas, Lord Vishnu appeared in the form of a fish to save the four Vedas from the clutches of the demon. He also wanted to save all the living beings from the Jalapradai, that is a great flood, Mahapradai or the Jalapradai. Let us see that story now. Vaivasvata Manu was a king. He was the grandson of Kashyapa Rishi. He is also known as Satyavrata and Shraddha Vishnu, in the form of Matsyavatara, knew about the massive floods, that is Pralaya. He emerged in front of Manu in the form of a small fish and requested to save it. Manu caught the little fish to save it. The fish grew to a giant size. Manu recognized the fish was the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. He bowed before the giant fish. Impressed with his wisdom and kindness, Vishnu told Manu there will be a great flood which will end the universe, and he instructed Manu to collect all the species and put them in a boat to save them from the flood. Manu gathered all the living beings on the boat. When the flood approached, he tied his boat to the horn on the fish's head. Thus, Vishnu saved the living beings from the great flood. This story resembles the story of Moses and Noah's Ark, which is believed in the West. The second stage of evolution, where life slowly moved from water to land and animals started living both in water as well as on land. They are called amphibians. Like turtle, which resembles Vishnu's second avatara, Kurmavatara. Kurma means turtle. Kurmavatara is the second avatara of Lord Vishnu. Due to the curse by Durvasa Maharshi, king of the heaven, Indra and all the Devas lost immortality. When they approached Vishnu for help, he suggested to churn the celestial ocean of milk, that is Kshira Sagara, with Mandara Parvata to get Amrita, which will give them their immortality back. He asked them to use Serpent King Vasuki as a rope to churn the ocean. When Asuras, the demons, heard the Suras are going to churn the ocean, they too wanted to join so that they could get the Amrita, which would give them immortality. Suras and Asuras were churning the ocean with the help of Mandara Parvata. The Mandara Parvata started sinking. So Lord Vishnu took the avatar of Kurma, a turtle, and supported the mountain to float. Churning of the celestial ocean Ksheerasagara is called as Samudra Manthana. During this Samudra Manthana, 14 auspicious things came out of the ocean due to churning. First, a terrible poison Halahala came out from the ocean. Lord Shiva swallowed the poison, and Mata Parvati, on learning that Shiva had consumed the Halahala, held his throat so as to stop the poison from running down to his stomach. The impact of the poison that was stuck in his throat turned Shiva's neck blue, and hence the name Neelakantha. Neela means blue, Kantha means neck. The other auspicious things which came out of the ocean are Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, who accepted Vishnu as her eternal spouse; Kamadhenu or Surabhi, the wish granting cow taken by Brahma and given to the sages so that the ghee from her milk could be used for yajna and similar rituals. Airavata, a white three-headed elephant taken by Indra as his Vahana; Uchchashraiva, a divine seven-headed horse given to Bali, the demon king; Parijata Vriksha, the divine flowering tree with blossoms that never fade or wilt, which was taken to Indraloka by the Devas; Chandra, the moon, which adorned Shiva's head; Sharanga, a powerful bow given to Lord Vishnu; Kaustubha, the most valuable Ratnam in the world worn by Vishnu; Apsaras, beautiful supernatural women who are believed to be in heaven; Varuni, the creator of wine or alcohol, was taken by the Asuras who chose god of rain Varuna as her spouse; Shankha, Vishnu's conch Panchajanya; Kalpavriksha, a divine wish fulfilling tree; the divine umbrella taken by god of rain Varuna. Finally, Dhanvantari, the divine physician, emerged with pot of Amrita. The Devas and Asuras both began to fight over Amrita. Garuda, Vishnu's eagle, took the pot and flew away. A few drops of nectar fell in Prayag, Haridwar, Ujjain and Nasik, where the Kumbh Mela is celebrated once every 12 years. One of the Asuras got hold of the pot. The Devas then appealed to Vishnu. He took the form of a beautiful woman Mohini and distracted the Asuras. Mohini volunteered to distribute the nectar to all of them. She gave some nectar to each of the Devas. Rahu Ketu and Asura took the form of a Deva and joined the line of the Devas receiving the nectar. He drinks a sip. Vishnu immediately cuts off the head of the demon, but it had become immortal in two parts, Rahu the head and Ketu the body. By the time the rest of the Asuras realized what was happening and that the beautiful Mohini was actually Lord Vishnu, the nectar had been distributed to the Devas. The rejuvenated Devas were able to defeat the Asuras in battle and regain their glory. Slowly, living beings started adapting to life on land, and mammals were evolved. The mammal, which is the third stage of evolution, resembles the Varaha Avatara, which is a mammal. The story of Varaha Avatara starts with Hiranyaksha, and the story of Hiranyaksha starts with the story of Jaya and Vijaya. So, let us start with the story of Jaya and Vijaya to understand the Hiranyaksha story a bit better. Whenever you visit a Vishnu temple, you might have seen two statues at the main Garbhagriha. They are the Dwarapalakas of Vishnu, Jaya and Vijaya. Let us learn more about them. Jaya and Vijaya were the Dwarapalakas or gatekeeper of Lord Vishnu's abode Vaikuntha. They were proud of the fact that they were the gatekeepers of Lord Vishnu. Hence, they believed that they had the right to deny anyone permission to enter Vaikuntha. Once, Sanat Kumaras, sons of the creator god Brahma, visited Vaikuntha to meet Vishnu. Jaya and Vijaya stopped them. The four Kumaras pleaded the two brothers to let them step inside, but Jaya and Vijaya arrogantly refused them permission. This angered the sages and they cursed the gatekeepers that they will have to leave their place from Vaikuntha and go live like mere mortals. When Vishnu got to know of this, he was sympathetic to his devoted gatekeepers. While he could not undo the curse of the sages, he gave Jaya and Vijaya a choice. Vishnu told them that they can either take birth as Vishnu's devotees for 7 times or they can take birth as Vishnu's enemy for 3 times before they can come back to Vaikuntha. Both Jaya and Vijaya did not want to stay away from their beloved Lord for a long time. So they chose the option of taking 3 births in the hope of coming back sooner. In their first birth, they were born as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. The two brothers created havoc in 3 worlds: Devaloka, Prithviloka, and Patalaloka. They grew so greedy that they wanted to become more powerful than the gods. They were Vishnu's enemy and they were killed by Varaha and Narasimha Avatara respectively. Hiranyaksha was a big devotee of Brahma. Lord Brahma, pleased with his devotion, granted him a boon. Hiranyaksha wanted to be immortal. Then Brahma told him that he can't grant him immortality and told him to ask for something else. Hiranyaksha thought for a while and then asked a boon to be indestructible from humans and animals. When Brahma asked for details in animals, he provided a list of various animals who could no longer harm him. Brahma granted him this wish. Over time, Hiranyaksha started tormenting everyone on earth. After a point, he decided to steal Mother Earth herself. So he stole her and hid her in the cosmic sea. This created a lot of chaos. Seeing this, Lord Vishnu inquired about the boon given by Brahma and realized that not all animals were included in the list. Lord Vishnu then took the form of a boar or Varaha and went inside the cosmic sea to look for Hiranyaksha and rescue Mother Earth or Bhudevi. In the cosmic sea, Hiranyaksha challenged the boar to fight him. He was overconfident about his own powers and was sure no animal like boar would be able to defeat him. This turned out to be a big misjudgment on his part. The boar was Lord Vishnu in Varaha Avatara and he was able to defeat Hiranyaksha in no time. Varaha fought with Hiranyaksha with his tusks, thus killing him instantly. Then Varaha Avatara raised the Mother Earth Bhudevi by his tusk from the depth of the cosmic ocean and placed her in her original position. The fourth stage of evolution, according to Darwin, is more advanced, fierce and strong animals. The Narasimha Avatara of Vishnu resembles these animals. Among the avatars of Lord Vishnu that have appeared so far, the Narasimha is the fiercest one. Demon King Hiranyakashipu wanted to take revenge from Lord Vishnu, who killed his brother Hiranyaksha in his Varaha Avatara. Thus, to take revenge from Lord Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu started killing his devotees. The legend says that Hiranyakashipu eradicated almost all the devotees of Lord Vishnu from the earth. The demon did intense penance to please Lord Brahma for obtaining a boon of becoming immortal. The boon he asked was, no animal or human can kill him, no weapon can kill him, he cannot be killed inside the house or outside, he cannot be killed during the day or night, not in the sky or on the earth. Brahma granted the boon. Hiranyakashipu's son was the ardent devotee of Lord Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu learnt about his son's devotion to Vishnu. He attempted to advise him against it. But when he failed to do so, he laid several traps to kill him. And one day, when Hiranyakashipu's tyranny had crossed all limits, Lord Vishnu appeared before him from a pillar as Narasimha, half lion and half human, killed him in the evening when it is neither day nor night, on the doorstep where it is neither inside nor outside, killed him by holding him on his lap where it is neither on ground nor in the sky, with lion nails, which is not a weapon. The fifth stage of evolution is the development of short humans who could walk on two legs, which resembles the Vamana avatara of Vishnu, where Vamana is a dwarf Brahmin. The purpose of Vamana avatara is to protect the Devas. After repeated wars between Rakshasas with gods, Bali, the grandson of Bhakta Prahalada and the demon king, realized that he can never win over the gods by war and he needed the blessings of a guru who is equal to God. He served his gurus to get the blessings. Indra, the king of God, was defeated by him. The defeated gods approached Vishnu to seek refuge. Noble-souled Bali was a good ruler and known for his charity. He would give away anything asked by a person who comes to his court seeking alms. Vishnu incarnates as the dwarf Brahmin Vamana, who visits him requesting only 3 steps of land as alms. Bali agrees, despite being warned by Vamana's true purpose by his guru sage Shukracharya. But Bali ignores him and gives more importance to his promise and grants him the alms. Vamana extends in size and covers earth by one stride. Second step, he keeps on the sky and covers it. When he asks where he can keep the third step, Bali bows before him and says he can keep it on his head. By doing this, Vamana pushes him to Patala Loka along with his other asuras, thus restoring the 3 worlds to Indra. Impressed with his nobleness, Vishnu granted Bali a boon whereby he would return to earth once every year. The harvest festival of Bali Pratipada, which we celebrate during Deepavali, and Onam, which is mostly celebrated by people of all faiths within Kerala, are celebrated to mark his yearly homecoming. The sixth stage of evolution is where early man started hunting and learned the use of weapons. He was a fully developed man but still savage. This stage resembles the Parashurama avatar of Vishnu, who holds an axe to fight the evil. Parashurama Avatara. Parashurama was the first Brahmin warrior in Hinduism and was the warrior incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and he got an axe with the blessings of Lord Shiva. Parashurama was a Brahmin and was the son of sage Jamadagni and his wife Renuka. Once Jamadagni ordered Parashurama to chop the head of his mother because he was angry on her. Parashurama, being the follower of father's words, chopped his mother's head with his axe. Later, when his father agreed to give him blessings, he asked Jamadagni to revive his mother. Jamadagni agreed and his wife came alive by his blessings. This is the early story of Parashurama. Kamadhenu, also known as Surabhi, is a divine cow. She is a miraculous cow of plenty, who provides her owner whatever he desires and is often portrayed as the mother of other cattle. The calf of Kamadhenu, Nandini, was acquired by the sage Jamadagni after years of penance. It was stolen by the Haya king Kartivirya, who killed Jamadagni during the theft. Parashurama learns about this crime and is furious. He carries his axe in his hand and challenges the king to battle. Parashurama defeats the king and kills him. His anger does not stop there. It leads to a wholesome massacre of Kshatriyas. This land where we stay is called as Parashurama Shrishti. Children, do you know why it is called Parashurama Shrishti? There are legends dealing with the origin of the western coast geographically and culturally. One such legend is the retrieval of the west coast from the sea by Parashurama, a warrior sage. Parashurama hated all the Kshatriyas, so he destroyed them all and donated the gained land to sage Kashyapa. After donating all the land, he thought staying in the donated land is not right. So he went to Sahyadri to start meditation to Lord Shiva. Shiva appeared before him and said he would incarnate in Kadri, which was then called Kadalivana, and asked Parashurama to meditate there. When Parashurama came to Kadalivana, it was occupied by the ocean. So Parashurama went to the Ocean King and asked him to take back the ocean from that part of the land. When the Ocean King refused to do so, Parashurama threw his axe to an extent in anger. By the fear of Parashurama's anger, the Ocean King took back the ocean from that much place where the axe had fallen. This was how the Tulunadu was formed, and so it was called the Parashurama Shrishti or Parashurama Kshetra. According to legend, this new area of land extended from Gokarna to Kanyakumari. The land which rose from sea was filled with salt and unsuitable for habitation. So Parashurama invoked the snake king Vasuki, who with the help of his millions of snakes turned the land upside down, converted the soil into fertile lush green land. Out of respect, Vasuki and all the snakes were appointed as the protector and guardians of the land. That is the reason we find a lot of Nagabanas in Tulunadu, and Nagas are considered the holiest and worshipped by Hindus. Parashurama is the only Vishnu avatara that coexists with other Vishnu avatars Rama and Krishna in Ramayana and Mahabharata respectively. The next stage of evolution is the development of peaceful, perfect gentleman who had control over his emotions, had wisdom, could judge between good and bad, and lead a peaceful life. This resembles the Ramavatara, Krishnavatara, and Buddhavatara of Vishnu. Ramavatara. Lord Rama is the seventh incarnation of Vishnu. He was the king of Ayodhya. He is the main character in Valmiki's epic Ramayana. In the epic, Lord Rama is described as an ideal king and an ideal person. He is the most widely worshipped Hindu deity in India. According to the Ramayana, the story of Lord Rama goes as follows. Lord Rama's stepmother Kaikeyi wanted her son Bharata to be the king of Ayodhya, and so she plotted to banish Lord Rama for 14 years away from Ayodhya. Lord Rama, along with his wife Sita and brother Lakshmana, were in exile and lived in forest. One day, Sita was abducted by Ravana, the ruler of Lanka. He held Sita captive in Ashokavatika. Lord Rama, with the aid of his brother Lakshmana and Hanuman, attacked Ravana's army in pursuit to rescue Sita. After a long and fierce battle, Lord Rama succeeded in killing the 10-headed Ravana and reunited with his wife. Having completed his exile, Lord Rama returned back to Ayodhya with his wife and brother and was crowned as king. His rule is known as Rama Rajya. Today, Lord Rama is revered for his courage, virtue, bravery, and absolute devotion for his wife and Ayodhya. Avatara. Lord Krishna, the eighth avatara of God Vishnu, is worshipped as the supreme God in Hinduism. He was born in Dwapara Yuga to Devaki and Vasudeva. When his maternal uncle Kamsa, the wicked king of Mathura, tried to kill him, he was smuggled across the Yamuna river to Gokula and raised by the leader of the cowards Nanda and his wife Yashoda. Krishna's childhood and youth describe him as cowherder, a mischievous boy whose pranks earn him the nickname Makhan Chor, and a protector who steals the heart of the people in both Gokul and Vrindavan. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Yada yadai dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham, meaning he will take avatars as and when needed in order to protect the sadhus, to establish dharma, to teach the true meaning of dharma, the significance of karma, and to enlighten the path of bhakti. Lord Krishna's life marks the passing of the Dwapara age and beginning of the Kali Yuga, which is also considered as the current age. Buddhavatara. Gautama Buddha, who founded Buddhism, is believed to be the ninth avatara of Lord Vishnu in Hinduism. Buddha, as an avatar of Vishnu, is a part of a cosmic cycle. Gautama was born into a wealthy family as a prince in present day Nepal. One day he saw four sights: a man bent with old age, a person afflicted with sickness, a corpse, and a wandering monk. It was the fourth sight, that of a wandering monk, that filled Siddhartha with sense of urgency to find out what lay at the root of human sufferings. Siddhartha left the luxury of the palace. Although he had an easy life, Gautama was moved by the sufferings in the world. He left his palace to search for enlightenment. He left behind all the worldly pleasures and the materialistic world. On further pondering, Siddhartha felt that life can't be just meaningless and futile. There has to be something profound and meaningful to it. One day, seated beneath the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha became deeply absorbed in meditation. He finally achieved enlightenment and became Buddha. He helped the people to free themselves from sufferings and pain, the cycle of birth, life, and death. He spent the rest of his life teaching others about how to achieve the spiritual state. Kalki Avatara. Kalki is believed to be the last incarnation of Lord Vishnu. It is believed that Kalki will appear at the end of Kali Yuga. Kalki is the harbinger of end time and will destroy all evil at the end of Kali Yuga. Kalki is not yet born. According to the Vedic scriptures, it is mentioned that Lord Vishnu will show up once and for all as Lord Kalki during the finish of Kali Yuga, when malicious will be wild upon the earth and will re-establish serenity by executing all the wrongs. It will be the end of present Chatur Yuga, and next Chatur Yuga will start after that. Children, you may be doing bhajans every day. If no, at least during religious festivals, isn't it? When we were small, we used to do bhajans every day. And after hours of praying, we used to do Mangalarati with the Mangalam, chanting the greatness of Vishnu's Dashavatara. Here is the song for you. Hope you will listen, learn, and sing it.
ಚಲಿಸುವ ಜಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ಸ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಗಿರಿಯ ಬೆನ್ನಲಿ ಹೊತ್ತ ಕೂರ್ಮನಿಗೆ ಧರೆಯನು ಧರಿಸಿದ ವರಹವತಾರಗೆ ತರಳನ ಕಾಯ್ದ ಶ್ರೀ ನರಸಿಂಹಗೆ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಜಯ ಶುಭ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಜಯ ಶುಭ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಭೂಮಿಯ ದಾನವ ಬೇಡಿದಗೆ ಆ ಮಹಾಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯರ ಗೆಲಿದವಗೆ ರಾಮಚಂದ್ರರೆಂಬ ದಶರಥ ಸುತನಿಗೆ ಸತ್ಯಭಾಮೆಯ ರಸ ಗೋಪಾಲ ಕೃಷ್ಣಗೆ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಜಯ ಶುಭ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಜಯ ಶುಭ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಬತ್ತಲೆ ನಿಂತಿಹ ಬೌಧನಿಗೆ ಉತ್ತಮ ಹಯಬೇರಿದ ಕಲ್ಕ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಹತ್ತಾವತಾರದಿ ಭಕ್ತರ ಸಲಹುವ ಕರ್ತೃಶ್ರೀ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನಿಗೆ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಜಯ ಶುಭ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಜಯ ಶುಭ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಶುಭ ಮಂಗಳಂ.
Children, by now you might have understood all the 10 Dashavataras and how they are similar to Darwin's theory of evolution. We have used materials and pictures from the various sites to create this video. We give credit to the creators and sincerely thank the sources of all the pictures and materials used here.